sheltering branches of an old oak tree, there stood a tiny cottage made of cobblestone and thatch. The door was painted periwinkle blue, and a wind chime made from acorn caps and silver bells jingled gently in the breeze. This was the home of Fern, a kind-hearted and solitary fae. She favoured moss-green skirts, always wore her chestnut hair in a tidy braid, and permanently had earth under her nails from gardening. With wings like dried leaves in autumn, strong and papery, capable of long glides across the forest canopy. Each morning, Fern rose with the birdsong. She'd yawn, stretch her arms up to the wooden ceiling, and brew a pot of nettle tea on the stove. Breakfast might be a slice of bread with elderberry jam, eaten out on the little stone stoop where the ivy curled and bees hummed. The woods would wake slowly around her, squirrels chattering, dew dripping from the leaves, the sun beginning to filter through. Her days were quiet and content. She would pick up her trusty old woven basket from the doorstep and gather herbs in the morning. She knew where the best thyme grew, how to talk to the nettles so that they wouldn't sting, and which mushrooms were friendly and which were best left alone. In the afternoons, she'd sweep the cottage, bake blackberry pies, or sit with her sewing kit happily making repairs to much-loved garments. It was on one such day, just as she was checking her row of chamomile flowers, that she heard a faint, broken sound, a tiny, sad whistle. She straightened, ears twitching, and followed the noise up the garden path and into the brambles. There, nestled in the bush, lay a baby bird. The fluffy little thing trembled with closed eyes and a beak that opened silently again and again. Fern could see no nest nearby, and there were no parents in sight. "Oh, you poor feather," Fern murmured, crouching beside it. She looked up to the canopy, her wings ruffling in concern. A storm had passed the night before. Perhaps the wind had tossed the nest from its perch. The baby bird quivered, helpless and quiet. Fern slid off her shawl and wrapped it around the tiny creature like a blanket, cradling it gently in her arms. "You need food, warmth, and rest. Come along, little one." The cottage became a nursery of sorts in herself smile.